Change lives.
Cambiar vidas.
Change lives.
Change organizations.
改变世
Change
界
organizations.
Transformar el mundo.
Change the world.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had one of those holiday meals with your family that starts off all pleasant, but then suddenly it ruptures into this angry, contentious battle over politics? Isn't it so sad and yet so common for this to happen? I have a similar story, and it's when I was growing up, we had some family friends that were pretty much like family to me. We would have every family meal or every holiday meal together, and in fact, we would eat together almost once a week. We would go to their house all the time to watch these high-tech movies on their big projector screen and their laser disc technology. But something's come over us. Something has happened between us over the years. There's been a wedge that's been placed in our relationship. And that wedge is politics. It's gotten to the point now in politics where we have a hard time trusting each other because of the battles that we've had over politics. We've labeled each other as, the other opposing group, Republicans or Democrats, and therefore we find it hard to just believe what the other one's saying. So for example, our friends will look at us, and if we say something that they don't agree with, they'll say, well, what do you know? You're from California now. Of course, you're such a liberal. And so I've noticed that this has had an impact on me, and it's not just by tearing apart a relationship, but it's also because I found myself choosing to talk to people about politics with only people that agreed with me. I didn't want to go into those battles. I didn't want to have these discussions and disagreements and confrontations. I much prefer to talk with people that agreed with me, and then I could label the Republicans as a Republican. And it made me feel much better. But then I came to Stanford, the place of enlightenment, differing opinions, and open minds. What I found myself doing was talking to people with different opinions. And if you could believe it or not, I found myself learning so much from these people. I will admit on some issues like fiscal policy issues, I found myself moving my position a little bit more to the center from the liberal extreme that I had before. On social issues, I didn't exactly move my position, but I was able to understand where these people were coming from, and that really gave me an appreciation for their opinions. And I really learned that it's such a shame. How can I learn if I only choose to talk to people that agree with me? And so that's why I'm here today. I want to persuade you all to find people that disagree with you in politics and take time to understand where they're coming from. I mean, it makes sense because we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, so it's only inevitable we're going to have different opinions and different beliefs. So when I started this presentation, or when I started putting together this presentation, I was thinking, what was it that made me want to only talk to people that I agreed with? So through my experiences and through some research, I found that what happens is when there's two people that disagree with each other, we tend to label each other as opponents. And opponents is already a negative connotation. So once you have an opponent, it's really easy to stereotype these people and kind of create some demonic characters for these people. But once you get to that level, if you start discussing something that you differ in opinions in, it's very easy to end up in battles and anger. And because of all of that negative sentiment, it's just much easier just to avoid the confrontation and not talk about politics with people that you disagree with. It turns out that I'm also not alone with this feeling that I should only talk to people that agree with me. Research also shows that on a scale of choosing people and friends and family that mostly disagree with you, from choosing friends and family that mostly agree with you, the average American will choose people that they generally agree with on politics. Also, when there's groups of people that generally agree with each other, statistics have shown that 79% of them are likely to talk about politics. But if there's groups of people that disagree on politics, then only 29% of them will actually talk about politics. So the problem with this is then we're creating these silos of opinions. And then these opinions end up becoming a little bit more extreme than they should be. Other studies have shown that when people with different perspectives come together, they end up forming a consensus. But when there's groups of people that are like-minded, made up of like-minded individuals, they will tend to form a consensus that is much more extreme. So this reminds me of a story from when I was in elementary school. My favorite band was New Kids on the Block. Heyo. The problem is, I had never heard a New Kids on the Block song before in my life. So that was purely a decision of consensus and not an informed decision. So where does that bring us here today? Well, basically, if we want to be the most informed as we can be on the issues, then we need to talk more with people that we disagree with. If we can talk more with people that we disagree with, maybe we can move this average arrow more towards the neutral center, where people generally just naturally choose to talk to people they agree with and disagree with. If we can talk to people on both sides of if we can understand both sides of the stories, then we will become more understanding, we will stereotype less, and we will be more informed. If we understand both sides of the story, then we will learn to appreciate differing opinions. And by talking more, we can actually understand each other and empathize more with each other and build relationships better. And then in the end, we don't have to be so scared to talk about politics. We don't have to worry about politics coming in between our relationships. So I challenge you all to go find some friends and family, at least half of which you disagree with in politics. Go take them out to coffee or get a lunch with them and find out what it is that they believe. Don't just hear what they have to say, but truly listen and truly understand why it is that they believe what they believe. Not only will you learn from this, but I strongly believe that you will also find out that you have more in common than you thought. So go challenge yourself to become more informed politically. Thank you very much.